I'm joined with Dick Allgaier, Daz Smith, Nyiam, and Edward Riordan. And we're going to take a look at our target this week. Here we go. The tasking on this document was the viewers to look at Dr. Anthony. Before we start, any comments at this point, now that we know what the target was?
Well, we put this out. The men in black are going to come round us all up.
Yeah,
it's
really.
quite possible.
The force
not like,
yeah.
Put up. You're
That's why,
surrounded, Allgaier. You know,
as I was saying, we will proceed with caution as we review our data on this one. So let's stick to the data here. Who went first? Edward, do you want to start us off, sir?
I was in this place, and it felt like it felt like a warehouse to me, in that it was this big place, facility, something like that, and it felt like a significant place. This starts off at this warehouse facility place. So I had to ask, is something there? Or is the place significant in another way? So is it the place, or is it something going on there? How does it relate to the target, I ask? And I see these people, they're in a meeting. And they're a meeting of two people. And why is this important, though, I wonder? And it felt like two heads of state or two influential people. This feels important, but important why? It's like a business meeting. But what kind of business? Like a joint venture or two businesses coming together, that kind of a thing. And I had this AOL, like a Gavin Newsom or whatever. An influence thing, influential people making a deal, a venture. There is money, possible financial backing or support, putting up money. Has a political feel. If not political, then a public person. This person talks like a politician, smooth talker, kind of bullshitty, slick Willie type. Different stories being told, an obfuscation. But different stories, well, what does that mean? There's a public story and a private story, a public face and a private face. And in between is a crazy, man.
Okay, Edward, thank you. Great session.
Yeah, I got the glasses there at the beginning. Yeah, I saw him. I almost thought it was Biden for a second. I saw the gray gray hair, but I was like, no, it's not Biden. But I get executive, high roller, no nonsense, corporate, lavish living. He can be welcoming. He had the nasally voice. I got that. He's almost treated like royalty. I get like he's royal, all about the profit and the business. And I get that he even has connections to like trading or the stock exchange or something like that. Yeah, I get again, executive, serious. He's a public figure. I get anatomy, precision. But then I get this stuff over here. I get like injury. I get like he goes septic, or that's what I get here. It's like surgery, medical. I think I saw him when he was younger. And I wrote like he kind of reminds me of Tom Cruise, the way the way his attitude was, like very straightforward. And then this was crazy. I saw like a vessel, like a blood vessel, and I saw this bulge in there, and I get a sense of a blockage, impede, pump, withdraw, removal.
Okay, curious. Definitely curious. How strong do you think? The possibility at that point, maybe it would be, is front loading the right term, or your imagination, or do you think because this is such a relevant story in all of our lives, or how confident are you in that data point?
It's hard to say. This inoculated, that, all that stuff that felt, right. I wasn't really front loading myself with those, but
right.
It's hard to say. And it's hard to say if this was all the same person throughout, you know what I mean? Because a part of the tasking is like, what is he involved in? He's probably overseen or been involved with a lot of these kinds of things.
A lot of things. Yeah. I agree. I think your inoculated data is very, very strong data. Yeah. Definitely. Great session, Nyiam. Thank you. All right, Mr. Smith.
Okay, so start off with an ideogram of three parts, A, B, and C. A is a structure, a large structure, and it felt abroad from me, very corporate feeling. There was a lot of energy about this person, both positive and negative, and this was like a battle internally. And the main person was a life male, very fault driven, all in his head, and he was a well-known personality. And he's working on all these designs, theories, and scenarios, and he was a planner. And then I looked at the numbers in a bit more detail and broke that down a bit. And I got things like code, secret, shady, funded by government, which was covert, all about being evaluated. The life himself was tall, thin, wiry, over 40, male, foreign to me. Feels important, he's known, he's professional, educated, rich, and he's an expert. And he's an expert in engineering and bioengineering, genetics, code, numbers, science, general feel from all that. And he's very accomplished in these. He's working on a complex solution to a problem. And this is lots. I kept seeing all these papers, diagrams, and code, speculations. He's under a lot of stress working to a deadline. But some of the work felt like it was covert, secret work, with negotiations and presentations. And then I had this subtle feeling of this life was being manipulated, being run a bit like a spy or an agent. And this had something to do with covert, secret, kind of underhand feel. He's definitely being watched. And then I asked by who, and I had the intel agencies from the USA, Israel, and others. Because he's involved in a complex situation, and this might have something to do with money laundering. Currently multiple timelines, but yes is the most probable answer. But I also had this thing as that we should be cautious here, because this is a powerful, connected person. And I wrote here in my final notes, okay, this is new for me. This feels like a person working with the intel or being watched and closely followed by intel. And then I wrote here right at the end, we need to be careful here.
So then my question is, what do we need to be cautious about?
I don't know, because I wrote here that we need to be careful here.
Us, our team.
Yes.
Yeah. And I agree, Daz. That's why, before we started, I said, we're going to stick to just the data. We're going to be careful with what we say, because there are a lot of eyes with a lot of power behind them on this.
It was a very impressive session there, Daz. That was really good.
Yeah, that was really good.
Really good.
Yeah. Daz, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, Dick, let's take a look at your data, sir.
Oh, man. I got to tell you that I addressed this target ID and immediately bilocated to like this close to the guy. I saw him from here to here, no more than 18 to 2 feet away. And I immediately had this rush of, let me show you the same kind of stuff Daz was getting. And it was so strong that I thought, oh, that's imagination. So I drew him, and I actually stopped the session and redid the session again because it was too strong. It's like, oh, conspiratorial. This is a high level guy that is really working with the powers that be to do. And so I didn't follow that as much as I should have. It felt too strong. I did see where he worked. I said he works at a medical center. I did say curving architecture, which was wrong. But if you look at the NIH, I did pretty much get it. I said it was university associated healthcare shit. So let me go through my session. Okay, so I immediately I see people, and there's one that's more prominent. So I got onto the fact that this was a person target. And then I see an eyeball, the blood vessels in the eyes, like there's a problem with like an occlusion, something vision going bad. People with tremors and spasms, shaking violently, like seizure. A woman's vagina with bleeding issues, abnormal bleeding. A person with medical problems, blood issues. God, I just wish I would have followed the first impression I had was so strong. I could have gone 30 minutes of just, it would have been data corroborating Edwards.
Right.
when I saw him so clearly, I didn't recognize him, but that in that moment, that, you know, that thought ball you get, like, oh, this is a high level guy and he's doing something to, and there's controlling and he's giving one story, but there's a real story. And that whole thing came to me, but so strong, I thought, I can't put that down.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I want to go deeper and say, hey, what do we think this data means? But then after looking at Daz's warning in his data, I think that maybe we should just leave it as it is. And we can talk offline about what we think it might mean or might not mean, because let's stick to kind of just the data. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's kind of like, be careful how you task remote viewers, because they might tell you something you're not prepared for. That would be the moral of the story here. And we've seen it all time and time and time again. Like, whoever tasked this, they didn't know.
All right. So I think we agree. We're gonna end that session here and let all of you draw your own conclusions on it.
That poem I was quoting was Buffalo Bills by E.E. Cummings. Here, I'll put it up. Buffalo Bills defunct, who used to ride a water-smooth silver stallion and break 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pigeons just like that. Jesus, he was a handsome man. And what I want to know is, how do you like your blue-eyed boy, Mr. Death?
On behalf of Dick, Daz, Nyiam, Edward, and the rest of the Crypto Viewing team, I'm Dennis Nappi II. Thanks for watching.